Okay, I gotcha. I gotcha. Okay, well, I gotcha. I understand. Well, listen, let me call you right back. I gotta talk to my wife about that. All right, thank you so much. Now, Michelle, why didn't I book that call? Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Booked or Busted, where we make one call. There is two scores. Usually, there's three scores today because I have another special guest that I'm excited to introduce to you. But we're going to give you those scores, so we'll have a guest score today. As everybody knows, there is absolutely no excuses on this show. You get one shot, and you better be ready to knock the customer socks off and get that call. So welcome back. I'm excited to introduce my special guest today, Michelle LaFrance. I had the little French accent on there. So Michelle with Smarty Pants. She is a good friend of mine and partner. Michelle, why don't you go on and introduce yourself real quick? And we actually have an event coming up we want to tell you about real quick before we make this call.
Yeah, so exciting. So my company is Smarty Pants Productions. I have been doing digital marketing for over 20 years and specializing with HVAC contractors since 2008. So I know a little something about marketing. We do a lot of offsite marketing. So most contractors have been focused on their website, paid ads, and SEO, but everything's changed with the AI overview and AI agents recommending contractors, and our contractors are getting chosen and selected and recommended all the time because we multiplied their presence on the first page of the search because we're doing things off the website. We got to get contractors unaddicted. They're addicted to the website. Get found off your website. That is the key. So, and then we have the event coming up. Corey, you're going to be a guest. I can't wait for you to share. But in April, every Tuesday in April, it's the Master of HVAC Marketing, where I choose a topic and I invite the brightest minds in the industry to come. And let's share what we know with the contractors. Every Tuesday in April, we're talking about systems and processes to scale your business. And I have a heart for the family-owned and independently owned contractor. It is the PE edition. It's the fourth edition about how contractors can stand up to PE in their market. We have some solutions.
It's going to be awesome. So very
Better.
excited to be a part of that event, to be speaking at it. I have several great guests. Some I know personally. There's going to be a ton of value. So do not miss that. We'll go on and get a link. Hopefully in this post we can include a link or something for sign up to register. So we'll have that somewhere here when we release this video. So awesome. Now, Michelle, I actually just text you the link to the company we're going to be calling. So what I like to do with marketers, if you're willing to, you don't have to, but if you want to go and take a look at their website and just once we grade the call and maybe give a few marketing insights, just some things that stand out to you. I know you've seen you work your magic before with certain things and maybe where they're lacking in visibility. So let's make the call. And if you want to take a quick look at that when we finish the call, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Mobile, Alabama, this is a place where you better have your air conditioning working. That's all I got.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So we're going to be calling Air Conditioning Inc., just a company that I did a Google search in Mobile, Alabama. They were actually number one organically, Michelle. So they popped up number one. I didn't even see them in the sponsor. They were number one organic, though. They've been in business for 45 years. They have 1,000 plus reviews with a 4.9 average. And like I said, they're showing up number one on Google. So seems like a good company. Seems like they've gained the trust of their community. So are their CSRs going to support that, right? Are they going to book this call? Are they going to knock our socks off, or is it going to be busted? We will have to see. So let's go on and make that call. Just dialing the number listed on their website. One thing I noticed, Michelle, and you could speak to this, is I noticed that the number they had listed on Google organic is the same number they have listed on their website. Is that okay?
Yeah, it sure is. So Google tracks every customer by their NAP, and your NAP is your name, your address, and phone number. You want to have a consistent NAP because when Google finds that exact name, address, and phone number in multiple places, it builds confidence that you are who you say you are. Some contractors put a separate phone number on every piece of digital marketing that they have, and I think it's a mistake. You want a consistent NAP. That's important. So good question.
Gotcha. Yeah, that is good. And so now that's a little different. Now, if it was like an LSA or a sponsor, that has to be a different number, right? Or
Yeah, the
it's an
paid
option?
ads yeah, the paid
Okay.
ads typically you wanna be able to track
Mhm.
that
Well,
budget, right?
it's crazy not to because you need to be able to track the revenue, right?
Exactly,
Gotcha.
exactly. But when you're down in the organic space, I'm a big advocate for really have a clean, clear NAP, name, address, phone number, consistent.
Makes sense. Well, they're doing that with their Google listing and their website. So let's go on and give them a call and see how they do.
Sending blessings to this contractor.
Air conditioning, Morgan speaking. How can I help you?
I'm sorry. What was your name?
Morgan, Bryson Air Conditioning.
Well, hey Morgan, how are you? Yeah, my air conditioning's broke down and it's starting to get pretty warm.
Okay, have you ever used Grace before?
I have not.
Okay, what is that address for you?
Oh yes, it is 3905 Skyland Circle North. And that's 36693.
Daddy, and what was your first and last name?
It is Dave and then Longacre, Longacre.
Daddy, is this the only system in your home?
It is.
Do you happen to know about the age of the system?
Yeah, it's probably about 16 years old.
Okay, gotcha. Let me take a look at our schedule for you. I assume since it's not working and it's getting pretty warm, you were looking to have someone out today?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I can make that work. We do have technicians working throughout the area today. I can put you in the work in their schedule, and as soon as someone's available, they can give you a call.
Okay. And so what do you have a time frame or just you're not sure?
Yes, sir. It'll be this afternoon before 5 o'clock.
It'll be before
I just
5? Okay.
Yes, sir. I just don't know the exact time. It just depends on how long each call takes. Sometimes it's 30 minutes, sometimes it's an hour. So they would give you a call before they come just to make sure you're ready for them.
Okay. Okay.
Right? What's a good phone number for them to reach you at?
Yeah, it's 337-243-3603.
Perfect. And can you receive text messages on that phone as well?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So they'll give you a call and you'll get an automatic text message before they head that way just to make sure that you're ready for them.
Okay.
Alrighty, I've got it all set, Dave. If you've got any questions, feel free to give me a call. My name is Morgan.
Okay, Morgan. And Morgan, is there any service fee or dispatch fee or anything like that?
Yes, sir. It'll be an $85 charge, but they won't collect that until they finish up.
Okay, $85 charge. Is that included with the repair or is that just I pay that no matter what?
Yes, sir. That's for them to get out there and take a look at what's going on. Once they're looking at everything, they'll give you pricing on any repairs that need to be done.
Okay, I gotcha. I gotcha. Okay, well,
They won't do anything without your approval first.
I gotcha. I understand. Well, listen, let me call you right back. I gotta talk to my wife about that.
Okay, no worries.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
Now, Michelle, why didn't I book that call?
Well, I was just gonna say everything was going so good until the very, very end, like she let you off the hook a little too easy, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And she didn't I think you were looking to see if that service fee, if you went ahead with the repair, would be taken off.
Well, I was fishing there, and I'm not saying like, well, everybody should take. I don't like taking the service fee off the bill, so that's not really what I was looking for. I was just kind of pressing her and pushing her and see where she was going to go with it. Some companies do. I'm an advocate of you have a service fee, don't waive it if you do a repair.
Mm.
So what the main reason I did not book that call is because she did not build any value around that service fee. Didn't give me any explanation, built zero value. Now, I'm being a tough customer, right? Would some people still book? Sure, they would, right? But the reality is that's a big pain point in a lot of call centers is they get a lot of pushback on the fee, right? Customers ask, what's your service fee? Or they don't want to book because of the fee. And it's not because they're a cheap customer. It's not because they're a bad customer or they, again, they don't have any money. It has nothing to do with that. Now that could be the case sometimes, right? But a
Yeah.
lot of times it's just that they don't understand it. They don't understand why they gotta pay a fee for you just to come out, right? Is the common line that CSRs will hear. So it's important that we build a little bit of value first. I talked about this on a recent episode. I feel, Michelle, that this is one of the biggest problems in most call centers is we don't build any value. And I'll ask you this. Do you like paying for something you don't understand?
Well, nobody does, right? But
Yeah.
here's the thing that I was missing
Hmm.
had that been a female, and this goes hand in hand with you wanting to build value.
Hmm.
So, I thought she did overall a really good job, and I'm gonna
Hmm.
come back and say one of the questions she asked that I was really impressed with, but first, let's address this. So, I would wanna know, maybe the name of the technician, so clearly she found something in the schedule, right?
Hmm.
I would wanna know the name of the technician, and there are contractors out there that say something about, we vet all of our employees, and by the way, we might send you a text, like, who's coming to the house,
Yep.
right?
That's part of
This
the value, right?
Yeah, that's part of the value, I think,
Mm.
and I think as a woman, most women would really appreciate knowing, like, "Hey, just wanna let you know our techs are trained and approved, and maybe they're NATE certified," and just so that we're really, really careful about who we hire, so everybody's background checked, and as a matter of fact, you're gonna get the name of the tech that's coming out, but since she put you in this calendar, it might be really nice to say, "You know what? Joe's coming out, and he's one of our best techs, and you're gonna be in really good hands." So
Yep.
he'll text you 30 minutes before he gets there. I think that would've gone a long way with me. Yeah?
Yeah, yeah, and even if because I wasn't working, so even if she couldn't give me and I agree, when you can say the name of the tech, that's awesome. Sometimes you can't because 'cause you're not 100% sure, and you don't wanna set improper expectations. But even if she would've, like you said, just built some value, like, we're gonna send out one of our qualified techs, all our guys are fully trained and certified, they're backed by our company that's been in business for 45
Yeah,
years,
that's
right?
good.
So
Yeah.
that value build, like you say, especially as a woman too, that's very important. Some strange guy coming into your home. So that's a really good point. So that's one reason I didn't book is because she didn't build any value. But Michelle, she wasn't even going to tell me about the fee. I had to ask her before she hung up the phone.
Yeah, that's a really
So
good too.
yeah, so if the tech would have came out there, I would have been, the big thing we want to do on the phones is set proper expectations, right? Build value and set expectations. I don't want to surprise my customer with, oh, by the way, there's an $85 fee for this. Well, nobody told me I had to pay that, right?
Yeah.
That's not setting your tech up for success.
Yeah, and here's the thing that can I point out the one question she asked
You go for it, yeah.
that I really got my attention? But it sounds like maybe she's been trained, but maybe trained more on what the company needs. But she
Hmm.
asked a critical question. She asked you, "How old is your system?"
Yes, so I got to give her points for that. That was
Yeah,
very good. She
so
asked how
that
old the
tells
system was.
her well, that could be a replacement, right? So that tells her, I would imagine, to give you some priority treatment. Like,
Yes,
"Oh,"
and she did that.
and she did that. So I'm
Yep.
like, "Okay, girlfriend." Plus she had the cutest accent, whatever. I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
this is great." Well,
I
I was
agree. Great personality.
yeah, I was really giving her credit for, that prioritizing. Somebody with a 16-year-old AC could be a replacement. So it seemed maybe she was trained more what the company needs, and then they could go the next step and train a little bit more on the value. So
Yep.
maybe she could have said something like, You know what? Actually, we have somebody, and let me just tell you a little bit about our process. First of all, we've been in business for 44 years old or 44 years, and we're not your average contractor. We vet everybody. We do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to send you Joe, and he's one of our best. And by the way, we have a service fee of $85, and then they won't. And I like that. She said they won't do anything unless you
Yep.
approve it. Right. So
Yep.
I like that piece of it, but I feel like maybe she knew a little bit know how to prioritize the call, but maybe could learn a little bit more about connecting and really talking about the process.
Yeah. So those are all great points, and just building a little more value. Like I said, there was some pieces of it in there, but it just wasn't quite all there. And the reason I'm a stickler about that, Michelle, is when somebody doesn't build any value, I typically won't book the call because I've seen so many customers not book calls. In
Mm-hmm.
call centers all over the country that I've been in and trained because of that, right? It's not just that the customers that don't book the call, but a lot of customers will. Some customers are direct and they'll tell you, like I just said, hey, I really don't want to pay that fee. Why do I got to pay a fee? Some won't say anything at all. If you don't build any value, a lot of them are thinking that, like, man, I got to pay $85 just for them to come out. Again, doesn't make
Mm-hmm.
them a bad customer, doesn't make them cheap. They just don't get it, right? Maybe they never used a service company before. They're not business minded, right? They don't understand why they got to pay a fee. So when you build a little value, you justify it, and that way, when they hear the fee, like you just gave a great example, Michelle, then you tell them the fee, and they're like, "Oh, okay, great, no brainer," right? So I would
Yeah.
say absolutely great personality, very friendly. She did show a little empathy there. She said, "Goodness, I did like that, right? That was better than just saying like, oh, okay, sorry, and just going for my address." So she did say that's something, right? There was no reassurance. I would like to hear a little bit more. Well, hey, Corey, you've called the right place. We can help.
I have to add something else, Corey, may I?
Maybe a few more questions. Yeah, go for it.
She asked for your address before your name, and that, in the moment, that was just like it made me pause. It's just like, I think it would have been better, like, "Who am I speaking? Who I have the pleasure of speaking with?" And you could say, "Okay, great, Dave, then," and then there would be the opportunity to use your name. "Great, Dave, then tell me what your address is."
Yes, Michelle, you are spot on. She did
Mhm.
not use my name. She didn't use my last name, and she didn't use my first name. Even if she got my name, she still called me sir. Reality is, I don't care if you're in New York, California, Texas, wherever you are in the country, more people get offended by being called ma'am or sir than they ever have by their first name, right? So I
Well,
spend like a half a day training on getting names because I know the magic of the first name. So you are 100% right, and that was a miss for as well in the greeting.
mm,
Not even when you're collecting info. Just who do I have the pleasure of speaking with? Well, this is Dave. Well, hey Dave, thank you so much for giving us the call. Like right out of the gate. Right?
out of
So
the
yeah,
gate.
that was a
And then at
miss.
the end, my other comment would be when you said you have to think about it, it was like, "Oh, okay." And that was that. And so, had maybe there been a little bit more rapport building or establishing some value, I think there could have been a question, and a question that would have worked really well with me would be, "I'm sorry, did I fail to give you some information that you need?" Or, "Dave, can you tell me, did I miss something?" Even a little question like that could have kept you on the phone and you could have just said what you needed to say, but it was like, "Okay, bye."
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Yeah. Those are the main things that I heard in that call. But you pointed out something, Michelle, that I have to give her a lot of points for. Is she did ask one of the most important questions, and that is, how old is your system?
Yeah.
And then she immediately prioritized the call. I also like how she got my expectations. Hey, were you hoping to get somebody out there today? I know you said you're getting a little hot. That was good, right? I teach it. That was very good. Yeah, absolutely. I want some out here today. She got the age, and she made it a work in. You wouldn't believe how many times I've heard customers, and even when I've audited call centers, where I'm like, yeah, I'm a 17-year-old system broke down in the middle of summer. They're like, oh, yeah, we'll get to you,
We're
tomorrow. It's like, what, tomorrow?
Yeah.
At least put me on an urgency list or something, right? Like, don't just turn me down. So that was good. So I got to give her points there. Michelle, it is the tradition on the show to let the guest give their score first. So I'm gonna let you give your guest score, and then I'm gonna go on and give my sock score and then my stack score. But let's hear it, Michelle. What are we thinking? And also, anything else you'd like to add? Go for it.
Well, I just want to acknowledge, can we acknowledge all contractors for the very tough business that they have to run? I always want to tip my hat to the contractor, not an
Yes.
business, so many moving parts, the call center, the insurance, the dispatch, the parts, the service, the tax, the sales, the marketing, the paid ads, right? I'm giving her a score. I'm just gonna say I'm giving her some points for having a sweet voice and being sweet.
That's definitely gives her points.
and kind. And then for finding out the age of your system, that was really good.
Yep.
And prioritizing the call. And then, well, she didn't book the call and there was some misses, but my judge's score is
Oh, is a
5.
5.8. Michelle, I think that's a great score. 5.8. I think that is a fair score. That puts her in busted booking. And so the call didn't get booked, but I'm going to break my own rules. Typically, according to my scale, if it doesn't get booked, if I don't book it, the highest score I can give them is a 3.9. But I'm going to break my rules today because I agree with you, Michelle. I loved her personality. She did do good of getting me service today. And so I'm gonna break my rules. I'm gonna go on and give her a 5.8 as well on the sock score. There was some things missed. I'm not gonna drop her down into the three. So
No,
5.8 for me. Now on the technology side, did anything stand out to you technology wise with
I guess not.
It was
You'll
clean. It was
Yeah,
really clean. It was a uh, quick speed of answer. I'll throw it up
yeah,
on the screen. But it was I don't have it written down, but it was fairly quick. She got to the call very quick. There was no crazy long IVR. I hear those a lot. It's like, it gives you 10 different options, loops 3 or 4 times. So none of
yeah.
that. It was very clean. Do you remember hearing this call may be recorded? I don't remember either. We'll see. We'll see in the recording. But yeah, super clean on the tech side because it was a quick speed of answer. Really couldn't pinpoint any technical issues that stood out to me.
Mm.
I'm gonna go on and give it a 9 on the tech side because it
Yeah.
was it was it was strong. It was strong. Like I said, sometimes people just overdo it on the tech stuff. Their IVRs all over the place. They got this, you're routed here. And so I thought that was really clean. So I'm gonna give that a 9. So what we're gonna do, Michelle, we're gonna give our final booked or busted score. So we're gonna get the average of 5.8 and 9.
I'm trying to do the math in
Okay.
my
Yeah. Now use a tool. All right. So we're going to give our final booked or busted score, and that is a 7.4. 7.4. That's actually a pretty good score. That is right. That's about as high as you can get for just booked. So barely made it. The booking didn't happen, but we broke the rules today, Michelle, because we liked her personality and she did some things well.
did so much better.
Well, Michelle, thank you so much for being on this episode. And everybody, thank you for watching another episode of Booked or Busted. And we'll see you next time.